Welcome to Feral Faith, where life is messy, but we're here for it all. I'm Cassidy.
And I'm Amber.
Two friends and moms just trying to survive and thrive in this wild, beautiful chaos.
So we invite you into our living room where things may get a little fierce and spicy as we press in. No sugarcoating here, just real talk, real faith, and wildly present conversations.
We're showing up and letting our roars out. So buckle up. It's about to get real.
This is Feral Faith.
Feral Faith, feeling a little zoomies today. So, hey, we are
It's cold. We're all been shut in. It's cold.
It's a nice snowy, windy day here up in the plains of Wisconsin. Super fun. We are going to shortly play the last segment of our dialogue with Joe. For those of you who missed our last episode, you can go to feralfaithpodcast.com, check us out on Spotify, on YouTube, and on Apple Podcasts. And the episode is episode 15 or 16. And it's the one that talks about getting dusty. And
walking
Joe,
in the dust of the rabbi.
yes, Joe is so it's interesting. Amber and I were talking on here before because we do that a lot. And I keep getting the picture of Roadrunner in my head. So I'm going to expound on Roadrunner for a second. The cartoon, like that guy.
Beep, beep.
Yeah. Beep, beep. So Joe's dialogue primarily had this overcast of this idea that we have to slow down enough for our lives to be able to get wound up and twisted in a way that there's no unraveling of he used an image of a wool ball. And that requires the slowing down, changing pace, being together. And I was thinking of Roadrunner because when he runs away, he leaves that really pretty trail of dust behind him. So he's not getting dusty. It's all in the wake of him zooming by. And in the last episode, Joe talked about the Hebraic blessing when people would enter into discipleship with the rabbis and how it's you need to get covered in their dust, get covered in everything and all parts of them. And if we're constantly running around like a road runner, in this very Western modern society, we're not getting dusty. We're just leaving a wake behind us without any regard to who or what is in the rear. So I don't know why that picture came in my head, but I'm throwing that out there to launch this morning.
Mimic.
That's what we'll just call the next episode. Beep beep.
Yeah, call it beep beep. Yeah. The beep beeps. Oh, we don't want to use beeps, right?
The beeps. Oh my gosh.
Dr. Jem Wilder's group uses the word beeps for when we have coping skills that are not very good. So maybe that is a Roadrunner has some coping skills.
Maybe it's really good. It's a terrific metaphor. He's beep beeping all around running.
He is. He's beeping and running. He can never be caught. Yes, I was reflecting on when we ended the last podcast with Joe, and he shared that story of his bottom being exposed because there's no privacy in the African culture, and a lot of other cultures there's not a lot of privacy. I remember when we were in Pakistan with them and we had to use the bathroom, and it was a communal bathroom. So it was one toilet for this whole apartment complex. And the brothers of this particular ministry that we were doing trauma healing with were so excited to walk Alyssa and I down to this communal bathroom. And it's a hole in the floor. And it was like we had this whole parade taking us down to the toilets. And they opened this big door for us. And there's a hole. And Alyssa goes, "Oh." And they all busted out laughing and just were standing around listening to all of the language interactions of us Westerners trying to balance over this hole in the ground. and surprisingly, in my travels there, the toilets were very clean. And I remember Maureen, Joe's wife, telling me, she goes, "Oh yeah, they tell us it's the Westerners that always muck it up because we don't know how to aim. We don't know how to use."
It's great.
And that was so true. It was it's a balancing act, an aiming act. There's just too much going on in those holes in the floor. Um, but that idea of doing life together, there is an aspect of that when we are like when Paul says, "Follow me as I follow Messiah." There's this aspect of this we see like kind of like the ducklings, like you got Mama Duck, which could represent Messiah, and then you have all of these other ducks, and getting in row with that, following each other, being close with one another as Messiah demonstrated on this earth, sleeping together, spending time together, eating together, just doing life together. There are some aspects that start to rub off on us, right? Like if we have Christ-like behavior, if we have character traits that are desirable for others in our community, it rubs off on them. And one of those things that rubs off is language.
Yes.
So if I get a little spicy and I start using spicy language, well, then that might prompt my sister to start using spicy language. That's not the character traits that we really want to pass on to. And then our kids say it and they're like, "Oh, that's not pretty." But there are some things of our life that we pick up on these phrases. And I think it's important to say that definitions of words matter. Words matter and definitions of words matter. But we had some moments of spending time, enough time over the years with Joe and Maureen, that my daughter has started to pick up little phrases that they use. And one of the things that the Welsh do in that particular region that Joe and Maureen are from is they add R's at the end of words. So, like in our last episode where we talked about the Brazilians are coming, well, the R's are coming. And so Alyssa would be translated as Alysser. And some of our other friends that listen to our podcast that have known Joan and Maureen. So Vanessa is Vanessa. And also when Joe and Maureen would talk about, hey, we're going to go to that area over there, Alyssa now uses those words. So thanks, Joe and Maureen, for that. But even this morning when Cassie and I were talking, and she was like, "Oh, I could really use a Tai Chi right now." It's chai tea because it's cold outside.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's those little things that we pick up on, but we're not going to pick up on them if we don't spend time together, if our lives are not balled together, if we don't have that time together and we don't slow down. At what did we say yesterday? You got an interruption in your life,
Yeah.
but you have time for it
Yeah.
to be able to go and love on someone who needs this demonstration of Messiah
Right.
because we have learned to slow it down
Yes.
and enjoy and find contentment in that, knowing that there are people around us that are going to have a moment that we are going to respond to as Messiah. But if I'm so busy, I'm not going
Yeah.
to have time for it.
You can't be intentional. It's
Yeah.
so challenging in our culture. That's why again I'm thinking roadrunner. I'm like we can't be roadrunners. We have to slow. And it was interesting. There was so many different pieces going on yesterday and none of it was a big deal, but I was like, wow, I have become so accustomed to moving at the pace of a tortoise that trying to hustle now, I'm like, whew. And then given the fact I'm walking around with a beach ball under my shirt, it doesn't make for hustling
It's a cute
easy.
beach ball.
I know, but
Yeah.
it doesn't make for running around well.
She's not a good
So
road runner.
no, I not anymore.
We could catch you.
I know, I know. I wouldn't. I feel like the National Geographic. I'd be that gazelle. They're like, oh, she's not gonna make it.
Everybody's at the
Spectators.
edge of their seat.
Yeah, she's not gonna get out of there. But, just to
Yes.
be able to have the capacity to take people on and not just for a unit of time, but be intentional and thoughtful of what the need really is and to address the need in its fullness,
Hmm.
and that's hard in our culture. So I think Joe does a really good job with the stories and the imagery in the last episode, really trying to explain the significance of relationship intentionality and how that impacted him into what he did for his, I don't want to say future generations of babies, but in essence, everyone he's discipled because he got exposure to that so early in his development that he understood in some level how important that was or impactful that it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in the future, we have another guest that comes on and talks about how our brains in the Western world, so Europe and the Western world have not, there's areas of our brain that is undeveloped due to our independent culture,
Yeah.
and that it is going to take some rewiring and relearning on our parts of how to activate that communal part of our brain that wants to develop a we are a people who, right? Like that we want to develop that collectivism, but it takes, I think, having to have that deep look at our structure and our calendar and the way that we organize our lives as an individual, right? Like everything's about me and my family and all, and that it has taken God through a series of dreams, through getting to know people like Joe and Maureen and others who live
Mhm.
this out intentionally to say, help us develop patterns and to help our brains to be rewired to look at the collectivism, because we grow in collectivism by shared weakness,
Yeah.
by going and digging the holes and pooping together, right?
Yep. Yeah.
By going down to the pooper together. Like there's like it seems so ridiculous. But those little like we have our own poop stories when we went camping last year together. I mean, there's just like all these things that like that shared weakness
Yeah.
creates this identity of saying we are a people who, right?
Yeah.
Your
Yep.
poop stinks too. Oh, it does. Oh, yes, it
Yep.
does. Right? Like there's
Yep.
we eat together, right? We live together. It's interesting when you look at those cultures, it would probably be a real shock to us, is that they know where babies come from.
Yeah. Yes,
They
they
have
do.
a shared bed. Like, how does that happen in a collective community of knowing when women's cycles are, and they revolve their lives around this simplicity of our humanness.
Yeah. It's not a big deal, the humanness. It just is.
Hmm. Yeah, it is. It is. And so I think that's like, to me, I think we say we long for that kind of stuff, but in our Western mind, that messes with us, because then that means that you're going to know my funk. You're going to
Yes.
know what irritates me, what gets under my skin. And so I hope you guys really enjoy the rest of our conversation with Joe, and that you can find a partner to listen with this and go, how can we start to restructure our lives here in the West and in Europe and the rest of the world? If you're listening to this, how can we do that so that we eat each other's dust and we
Yeah.
don't get left in the beep beep meow?
All right, guys, we're gonna let it take over from here.
Myself and my wife were involved for quite some time with an addiction recovery place in America, and those people were very keen to tell you how bad they were and what they had done, and they would share. So eventually, me and Maureen heard some of those stories 30, 40 times, really, as many as that. We knew what they were going to say because we'd heard that story so many times. They were always sharing that story openly. And we thought, well, what's the purpose of this? And it's getting, well, I've heard it once, great, but why are you saying it again? Well, there will be somebody new in the meeting who
Mhm.
maybe been trying to get free from addiction and had fallen that week or that day. And he was now listening to this person who'd been clean for maybe 20 years, but had been a serious idiot in his life. And he was thinking, well, that guy's a moron. And he's been clean for 20 years. There's hope for me.
Yeah.
There is, so some of our stories about our defeats,
Hmm.
sometimes the stories that our brothers and sisters need to hear,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because all they hear is the sound of victory, which is great. We all love a victory. We all love doing a victory dance.
Hmm.
But when they have fallen and when their weakness has been exposed by Satan, the thing they need to hear is we've also been seriously stupid in the past, or
Yeah.
even recently, or yesterday, or even today. We've been seriously stupid, and people need to hear those stories. Stories are a great way of communicating the heart of God, and our journey into the heart of God. And it's encouragement to somebody who thinks there's no hope for me.
No, it's so good, Joe.
There was one day, my wife was away, and so these things only happen when my wife's away. I got up that morning, and knew I was going to go to the recovery center in the evening, and got a few things I needed to do. And first thing I did was, well, I better wash my hair. My wife will say, "Did you go to the meetings dirty?" So I'll wash my hair. I still need to be told to go to the bathroom. So I go wash my hair, and it's wet. And I think, I need to dry this hair now. I couldn't find a hairdryer. Eventually found it, but the hairdryer, it's one of those like gun type looking hairdryers. The cord was that long, and the socket, the plug was on the end of it, And I thought, well, I couldn't find an extension lead or anything, so I plugged the hairdryer into the wall, and I just had to stick my head next to the wall while the hairdryer's drying it, and then do the other side. And because I've got 2 inches of cable, that's all I've got. And so I dry it and what have you, and I think this is really not the way to do it. And so I finished drying it, and then I yank the thing out the wall, but it snagged, and it pulled this cable out the handle. This is this great long cable that's wrapped inside this hand. I thought, oh, okay, well, that's that then. So I think, well, okay, I'm going to shave now. I get to shaving and get to this foam, and I'm shaving. I'm thinking, well, because my hair is really tough, and I think, well, this is nice and smooth. This is great. This is, because normally it hurts like crazy. And I'm shaving. I think, right, clean myself off. Look in the mirror. Oh, my hair's still there. Look at the razor. I've still got the guard on it. So I go off to one of these meetings. I've been visiting somebody, and I pull out of that driveway, and it's quite late at night. We're in a rural area. No cars on the road, but a lot of mist. The mist had fallen, a fog had fallen. I'm driving down this road with the headlights on, nobody around for miles. And all of a sudden, this guy comes around the corner, lights flashing on the wrong side of the road. I think, clearly he's on drugs. He's a drunk. I better be careful here. And we meet face like this. The car's head on, and I think, wow. Any false move, and this guy could just get out and shoot me. Clearly, he's drunk. He's crazy. I slowly reverse the car, and I pull out, and I pass him, and I give him my best righteous stare. You idiot, just look at him, but hopefully he doesn't pull a gun out of his glove compartment and start shooting at me. So I go past him, stare at him, pull round, and I drive off. And I think, wow, that was a near miss. And, the drunk driver. I get to the next stop street, and it's me that's on the wrong side of the road. I was the drunk driver. I was the one driving on the wrong side. He was fine. He must have been thinking, there's a crazy man in front of me. I better not say anything because he might shoot me. So I tell this story to these addicts. They fall about laughing because it's 3, one in a row, one after the other. They fall about laughing. And after this 4 or 5 minutes of laughter, and after they settle down, they say, "Joe, you're one of us." They needed to hear from me, because this is some spiritual guy. He's been a missionary. He's been to crazy places, and I can't relate to him. And yeah, Joe, you're an idiot.
And it's sober.
Yes. I mean, they've got an excuse. They've been drinking. They've done drugs. I haven't drunk since 1982 or 3 or something, and I've got no excuse. So I'm an idiot all by myself without having to do drugs. And so I just noticed after that. It broke something, and all of a sudden we were buddies. All of a sudden, he tells stories of his victories, but he also tells stories of his massive defeats that have knocked him on his bum.
Yeah.
And I think this is a very important part of discipleship, And those things take time. They take time. So first
It's
of
so
all, then,
true.
to be with Jesus.
Hmm.
The second thing then is to start to become like Jesus, and that's really kind of where I am with my grandsons. Going back to my grandsons, I've been with them now a year. They're getting to know me, and I'm just getting to that stage. I can sense God saying, "All right, now show them how they. Now you're together. Now you show them how they can be like me."
Yeah.
And that will mean telling stupid stories like that. It will mean challenging them, challenging how what they believe about certain things, whether it's money or work, trying to
Yeah.
tell them what Jesus thinks about those things, what he believes about them.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, you and I know Cassidy and I have also gone through that book, The Other Half of Church. And Jim Wilder's introducing this idea that attachment is actually built on shared weakness, right? Like,
Mm.
and that's actually one of the first steps in recovery is
Mm.
this idea is that we all have weakness and we
Yeah.
all need a faithful God to walk with us. At what point do we think we have perfected this walk? It's such pride to think that we have it all. And I know when we were in Pakistan, we shared a lot of joyful stories, like, right, just having that time to laugh and to laugh at ourselves. Like, if we
Yeah.
cannot laugh at ourselves
Yeah.
and our stupidity.
Mm.
So I'm going to share a story.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I failed. Oh, I failed a neighbor so bad. So hopefully she listens to this.
Yeah.
I called her and let her know I failed you. I was supposed to go pick up her child from home. She was, he's special needs and he needs help getting to the school bus. She lives too far for him to walk. And so, praise God, I was able to meet this neighbor who needed help. And every now and then she's like, I need you to go pick up my kid. I slept through it all, went about my day, had no thought of this kid being at home
Yeah.
and didn't reach out to anyone and let them know I failed. Didn't know a neighbor who knew I was supposed to go pick him up because she's supposed to take him home in the
Mm.
afternoon. She's like, hey, is everything okay? He wasn't on the bus. This is like how many hours? 8 hours later. It hit me. I gut punch.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as it came across, I think
Yeah.
an expletive came out of my mouth. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this poor kid. And I was like, oh no, I immediately called the
Yeah.
mother
Yeah.
and she was in the middle of dinner. So she just texted me. She's like, is everything okay? And I'm like, I hope so.
Yeah.
No, how is it?
I texted the roommate, I texted the
Yeah.
child, and everybody was like, it's okay. Like, it's
Yeah.
okay. And
Yeah.
it shocked me that it
Yeah.
was such a moment of like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, we are
Yeah.
capable at any time to
Yeah.
walk in our human finiteness and weakness. But she had such grace towards me. She's like, it's okay. Please don't worry. And I'm like, oh, I'm worried. Like
Yes.
that, to forget somebody's child at
Yeah.
home. Thank
Yeah.
God he's of age
Yeah.
to be home by
Yeah.
himself. But
Yeah.
this morning, I completed the task and I was like, I did
Right.
it.
Nailed it.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
was just such a
Yeah.
reminder that at
Yeah.
any moment we
Mm.
could walk in failure. Any
Yes.
moment we could
Mm.
be really stupid or do
Yes.
something.
Yeah.
There's a ripple effect. And to just be humble enough to say, I mean, I was like, I'm not going to make up a story or anything. I was like,
Yeah.
I overslept and I forgot. Like,
Yeah.
I am so sorry. Like, this
Yeah.
is, but it was so I was
Yeah.
so thankful to be received with grace.
Yeah. I like what you said. Actually, actually, I haven't read the book, but I'm familiar with some of the audio recordings that go with it, and I like that. I wasn't aware of that, but the sharing of our weaknesses can help in the
Hmm.
formation of an
Hmm.
attachment. Because
Hmm.
you sometimes wonder, God, we have this wonderful word from you. A good portion of it is how we failed, how David failed, how Gideon failed, and
Yeah.
all the victories as well. Don't get me
Hmm.
wrong, but there's clearly a lot of dysfunctional people that God
Yeah.
had called and was working with,
Hmm.
and for His purpose. But clearly they also fell a lot as well,
Yeah.
and it gives me hope thinking,
Yeah.
well, there's this mighty man called David, and yet he did some really terrible things. Or there's this man that did this, or he did that. It gives me hope. And I do need hope. I need love, I need faith, but I also need hope.
Yeah.
And it gives me hope to know that, and I can relate to that. Yeah, I did the same thing. Like you just talked about forgetting his children. I forgot my own children twice. I left them at the church, got in my car, went home, completely forgot I had two children in the church. So and I did it twice.
Yeah.
So so yeah, it's if that is what's needed in order for people to be entangled with me, and also hopefully as we walk together entangled with Jesus, then I'll share every story I've got regarding my weakness.
Amen. We started off this conversation with this Hebraic idea of following the rabbi, right? Like this whole idea of Jewish custom, that Middle Eastern custom of being relational. God provided space for us to share these stories several times through the year, right? The festivals, the Shabbat, these
Yes.
ideas of gathering together, the communion table, right? Like this idea of Christ's weakness of the cross, right? Like being exposed to mankind in all of those ways that seems like he lost, right? Like it's like he failed, his disciples are gone, there's everybody's scattered, he's betrayed, he's this and he's that, and that he said, remember this, right? Come together and remember this. And I think in our culture, we don't provide a whole lot of times or spaces to come together, share testimony or share, hey, how did we fail? But how did God get the victory through this? And I think if we provided more space for that, more
Yes.
times together, but if
Yeah.
we don't have time together, we're not going to know those stories. And we
We're
think we're
not.
living out of victory, and we're not. We're failing as a people group.
Yes.
We're
Yeah.
failing the generations. We're failing, even just starting off this idea of apprenticeship. When we were first talking, like you like the word apprenticeship for discipleship. When we were looking at statistics on technical schools, the generation that should be discipling and apprenticing the next generation is failing.
Yeah, they're
And
not.
they're not doing it. They're
Yeah.
not passing on their wisdom to the next generation. But interesting enough, the education system is catching on to that. And there's a huge increase of applications into technical schools. My daughter's school that she's in for the second year is so competitive. They have to do the lottery now. And thousands of children are applying to these schools and not able to do it, to get in, because it's so limited in that capacity. And I'm just like, Lord, that's a picture of our cultures are failing the next generations because we're not willing to apprentice them and take the time to be with them.
It's very true, because remember, someone's got to apprentice them. Someone's got to be the rabbi in that apprenticeship school. If there's only one, then how many can he do? 5, 10, 15? So we are short of people who can be the rabbi in that apprenticeship in the school. We should have thousands of those people, but we don't, because we stopped making steel in our country 40 years ago. We stopped making trucks or lorries 40 years ago. Well, certainly in Britain anyway, this is the case. And you still make stuff in America, but you make a lot less than you used to. And so there aren't those old guys that you can be apprenticed to.
Yeah.
They're very few and far between. So as you say, the spaces in the schools are very, there's very few spaces available for that. You should have loads of people who could say, yes, I can teach 20 kids. I can show people how to be a plumber or how to weld. In Britain, it's got to the place where there isn't anybody to show anybody how to weld or how to strip a car engine down or how to build a truck, build a lorry, because those skills died a long time ago. And that's going back to your question, really, about how can we disciple? How can we teach ourselves how to have community, be entangled together? Well, those people who still thought in a communal way, who still thought relationally, they died They've been dead and buried for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have anybody who can do that.
Yeah.
The only way you can do that is you import people from countries where it still takes place, or you go and observe and catch as much as you possibly can from them, and then ask Jesus to help you with the deficit when you get back home and say, please put this together. Fortunately, it's in our DNA to be communal. God put it in our DNA, so some of it is there naturally. But a good portion, I think scientists tell us 60% of is learned, 40% is what's built into us as human beings. So, so I think that's what we have to do. We have to import communities, existing communities, into our own countries.
Yeah.
Well, and look at the resistance that is going on within America with trying to get rid of these communal-based communities or people groups, right? Like they're here and it's upsetting the independent thinkers, those that are separationists, it's really upsetting, and we got to round them up and get rid of them because, they're causing, there's this scarcity mindset in our culture of they're going to take from us. And it's like, no, actually we could learn a lot from them if we were to surround them and support them and get to know them versus being fearful of them. Like, I think it's what we're seeing happening here is so fear driven. And so, Joe, as we start to wrap up this conversation, what words of wisdom would you want to impart to listeners as they're hearing our stories and I want to do this, but what would be one of the first steps that you would recommend for people to grasp this DNA that God has given us to?
Yeah, I would say restrict yourself. We minister to the many, but we invest in the few. Do that with your time and with your energy as well. Don't look to impact many people, may just impact one person. And ask God to show you somebody who wants to be a disciple of Christ, who you can help on that journey, help make a disciple. But we are aiming high, but we're aiming high in a different way. We're not aiming high in terms of numbers. We're aiming high in terms of depth of relationship that person will have with the body of Christ and with Jesus. So be restrictive. Get rid of stuff. Clear the decks is the nautical saying, isn't it? Get everything out of the way, so there is space now to go on this journey with Jesus and with 2 or 3 or 4 people, depending on who God brings you. So that would be my starting point. Is you've got to get rid of stuff in your life. I want to finish off with these 2 scriptures. These were taught to me. These are the first 2 scriptures that the person who was discipling me got me to learn. He said, I want you to learn these 2 scriptures. And we've already referred to them. Luke 14, verse 27, it says, whoever does not carry their cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. That word cross there is the same word that we use for staff or tent post. I think the Greek word is histemi, I think. Actually, no, it's storos, isn't it? But it comes from histemi. Histemi is where we get the English word stem from, stem. So it's a pole, it's a staff. We can use it as a cross as well. If in a push we can use it to crucify somebody. But Jesus wasn't talking about the cross. He was saying, take up your tent pole, take up your pole and put it on your back, wrap your tent around it, come and follow me. It's a journey with Jesus. So that's the first thing is know that this is a journey, and we're going to have to carry our cross. That means we're going to give up lots of stuff and go on this journey with him. And then the other one, of course, verse 33, in the same way, I'm just reading it here, in the same way, those of you who do not give up everything, you cannot be my disciple. And so this is the clearing of the decks. It's putting the Game Boy to one side. It, it's putting our pride to one side and willing to share stories of all the stupid things we've done. It's willing to be there for that disciple whenever they need us. It's willing to sleep in close proximity to them or allow them to do that with us. It's willing to walk a dusty road together with them, with Jesus, behind Jesus. So yeah, those are that's where we start.
Mm.
We start with death.
Mm.
That's good.
Joy, fun.
Yes.
I just want my house by myself and my little picket fences.
Yeah.
No, he asks us to lay that down. Yeah, it needs to die so that we can actually do what he's asked us to do.
Yeah.
Because we want to be found faithful.
Yeah.
We want to have a remnant ready to receive him when he decides to return. And
I know you're trying to close, but I get excited about this sort of thing. Is imagine Jesus said, Joe, I want you to come follow me. I'm calling you out. He's in this room with me right now, and Jesus is going to go somewhere and do something for 3 years. Joe, I want you to be with me, but you've got to leave everything behind and come with me. What would stop me? Whatever it is that would stop me, I have to get rid of it. I have to kill it. I have to kill it because that life with Jesus, I know it's going to be fun. Those disciples must have had every morning, for breakfast, they must have got up and thought, what on earth is he going to do today? Yesterday, he broke that bread and we fed a whole bunch of people. And then he walked on water. What is he going to do today? It must have been, they must have been life on the edge. What is the next episode is going to be great.
Yeah.
It's that. Now, why wouldn't we want that?
I'm reminded of that picture, The Chosen, this last season, when I think Cassidy recently actually sent me a clip of it as a reminder. Was it Thomas that he was calling?
Yeah.
So he's having this dialogue.
Oh, no, it was Thaddeus. It was Thaddeus.
So Thaddeus, he's having this dialogue with him and he gives him this whole picture of, it's going to suck. You're going to lose your friends. You're going to go through all this horrible, but it's going to be one of the most exciting journeys that you're on. And it's going to be full of this. You're going to see God's kingdom manifest, but it's going to kill you, right? Like it's this idea of it's going to be the high and lows. It ties into what Peggy mentioned. And, if anybody listened to her episode of this wild goose chase, right? Like there's going to be moments that goose is going to turn on you and you're going to run. And then there's moments that you're going to tackle that goose and it's going to be exciting, right? So it's like this idea of it is exciting when you lay it down and you become relational and you insert yourself into people's lives. It's amazing when you see God work, right? Like, when God brings the supernatural and manifests himself, it's an awe, right? Like you're just like, oh my gosh, he did it. Like he did the thing.
He did the thing he said he does. Who knew it?
Yeah. And then there's times where you feel like he's absolutely, he's turned his back and you're holding that person in their absolute brokenness. But it's like it's the pleasure of being there with them, in that witness of the highs and the lows of our humanness here on this earth. And it's phenomenal journey. It's an exciting journey.
It is. It's the greatest fun you could ever have. But the beginning of the journey is you die. So an answer to your question is death. Yeah, you die. That's the beginning.
I wonder how many followers we'll gain after this one. Well, I'm pretty sure this is a 2-part. I'm pretty sure we will be sharing this one over a series of weeks because it's an important message for us in the West to grasp. And it's life transforming because that's what we're after is transformed lives.
It is transformed life. I've probably shared about a third of what I wanted to share, so that's good.
We got more than 5 minutes. We're good. Well, it's a journey that we invite our listeners in on. Cassie and I decided to make this journey and unplug from the matrix, clear our calendars and say, let's do this thing. So we invite our listeners to also grab a friend, listen to this, challenge one another, reach out to us, like, subscribe, share, comment, unlike us, don't share us. We don't care. We really don't.
Yeah.
But we would like for this message to be shared with others who are
Yeah.
maybe their faith is being deconstructed, their idea of religion is being challenged. And so, yeah, Cassidy, you got anything else to add? You want to close us out?
No, I'm just this, it's a whirlwind. I'm like, yep, yep, yep. Yeah, that whole dying thing, that's right. It's just taking me back to some of the first dialogues we ever had when I said I need to get out of the IC, the institutional church. And I said, I just don't know what to do. And you said, why don't you pray about your calendar? Start with that and see what God has to say, because I filled it with all the good things and said, oh, that's actually not producing anything in my life, or is it producing anything for anyone else?
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right.
That's good.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you
That's
so
good.
Yeah.
much.
All
Thanks,
right.
Cassidy.
No problem. Feral Faith, we'll be back at you soon for more riveting living room dialogue.